Creates Art Podcast. Commentary. All. Hello, friend. This is Timothy Kimo Bryan, head instigator here at Create Art Podcast, where I bring my 30-plus years of experience in the arts and education world to help you tame your inner critic and create more than you consume. So this past holiday season, back in December of 2022, my wife gave me this deck of cards called Kickstart Creativity, and there are 50 cards, and they're here to help you with your inspiration and to grab that. They're done by Bonnie Smith Whitehouse, and the links will be in the show notes. So I was thinking, why is my wife giving me a box of cards that spark inspiration? I mean, aren't I the head instigator for Create Art Podcast? Well, I opened up the cards and they are fantastic for people that, don't have a problem with finding inspiration or creativity. And for those of us that do, it gives us a way to think about things is what is, my take on it. So, today's word is awe, A-W-E, not awe, but awe. And on the front of the card, it says, experiencing awe binds us together in our shared humanity. And I really, I can get behind that. I can dig it, as the kids like to say, because I know that when I experience awe, it helps me to, bind together with my community and makes me want to share what I've seen with my audience. With those that, follow me on social media or here on the podcast or like my art. I want others to experience that sense of awe that I experienced. So when we flip over the card, it does say, we experience awe, or what philosophers have called the sublime, when we stand before a grand cathedral or atop a mountain. The vastness of the universe may overwhelm us when gazing through a telescope towards the starry sky. Or we may be exhausted from the work of parenting. We may suddenly experience awe when we are looking upon a sleeping newborn. Researchers are learning that experiencing awe encourages us to act in ways that benefit the common good. And that common good can be, your folks that follow you on social media, the audience that you have cultivated and developed. And I think, we're trying as artists to recreate that for those that follow us. We want to share that with the world. Otherwise, we would just keep all this stuff to ourselves, and what a lonely world that would be, in my estimation anyways. I think it'd be a very lonely world if we didn't share it with others, whether they be our audience members or not. Whenever I'm doing a project, it's because I was inspired by something that I saw or experienced or heard or, something along those lines. So, me, I like to have a good definition so that way we can all know what we're talking about here. So when we look at the definition of awe in good old Merriam-Webster, we get an emotion variously combining dread, veneration, and wonder that is inspired by authority or by sacred or by the sublime, to inspire or fill with awe. And, I kind of like the card's definition a little bit better than Merriam-Webster. I don't tell Merriam-Webster that, but I mean, awe is an emotion, and it can be, dread, veneration, wonder, but it can be so much more than just, dread, veneration, and wonder. I tend to think of awe more on the positive side of things than on the negative side of things, but it is an emotion, and it inspires us to do something with what we have witnessed, no matter how we've witnessed it. So that's Merriam-Webster, but like I said, I think the card has a much better definition because it challenges us to do something with what we have experienced. And that's basically, what awe is to me. And I'm hoping to get your take on what awe is. What inspires awe in you? Is there something specific that inspires awe in you? Or is it just you're in awe that you made it through another day and you're listening to another podcast? Let me know what you think. Okay, let's go on to the challenges, because each of these cards have a couple of challenges, and that's another reason why I like these cards so much. So the first challenge is recall a moment where you were awestruck, and then pair that moment with a red action card. Well, we're not going to pair it with a red action card, but a moment that I was awestruck, I can remember it to this day. I was in the Louvre in Paris, and just walking around enjoying my time that I had there, and I look up the staircase, and at the top of it is Winged Victory. It is it's a statue that basically it's a woman with wings behind her, arms held out, standing in a boat. I think arms have been chopped off and she's been beheaded. But it's a great statue that I turned and I saw it and I was like, wow. And that's not what I was looking for in Paris. I didn't know what that was. And so much so that I went ahead and, took a picture of it so that way I could have it forever and share it with other folks. And I took it to my tattoo artist. I'm like, can we have this put on my back? And she let me know that, yeah, it can be done. It's going to take a long time. It's pretty, detailed, and she wants to, take her time with it. So right now I am kind of sitting in a holding pattern waiting to get that on my back because and I'm not a back tattoo kind of guy because I want to see the tattoo all the time. I want to be able to flip my arm around and go, yeah, that's that tattoo and that's that tattoo. And that reminds me of this and that and the other thing. But with this one, this is so grand that, it deserves, the whole, back to be viewed upon. So that's my, response to that challenge is seeing, Winged Victory, at the Louvre. And by all means, go and find pictures of this statue because it is, a picture doesn't do it justice. Seeing it in person definitely does. And unfortunately, when I went on my honeymoon to Paris and to the Louvre, they were doing some work on it. So my wife did not get to see it, but she's heard about it many, many, many times. Okay, so the next challenge on the card is... I don't know why I'm having, some blurry vision this morning, but that's okay. Begin keeping a list of moments in which you are struck by the vastness and wondrousness of our world. So that to me is sounding like, keep a journal of this kind of stuff. Keep track of this kind of stuff because when you're in a position where you're artistically blocked, and you know me, I'm not a big fan of writer's block or artistic blocks or anything like that, but when you have those moments when you're like, oh, I'm out of ideas on what to paint or write or dance about or do or whatnot, then you can pull this book out and think of things that you have seen, experienced that have inspired you. And maybe they inspire you again in a different way to cause you to do something different than, what you originally did when you saw the object or experienced the thing that created awe in you. Yeah, that's something I do need to do, anytime. And it's so easy these days too with the technology that we have, and we can be in awe of the technology that we have. But yeah, you snap a picture of it like I did, with the Louvre or, with Winged Victory, or, just record something, on your phone. Like if you're out at a poetry reading and, somebody reads, a pretty, decent poem or something that really makes you go, yeah, tap on the shoulder and go, hey, can I record that, please? Because I want to, remember that and experience that again. Sometimes they're going to say yes. Sometimes they're going to say no. If you do it to me, I'm going to say, yeah, sure, I'll read it again. Let's step outside, on the sidewalk and do it and not get arrested by the cops. But, yeah, be ready for those moments. Always be ready to feel a sense of awe and allow yourself to feel that sense of awe. Okay, so for the last challenge, and yes, the glasses are being challenging. As a matter of fact, I need to go get a new pair of glasses. So make a plan now to seek out awe. Don't just wait for it to find you. Look to art, nature, even technology. Where can you experience awe right now? And, parenting for me, I'm in awe that I'm a parent, first and foremost. It baffles me every time. I'm just like, wow, I'm a dad. And makes me want to, be a better dad and be more open to the experiences that that my kids give me. We go out and have fun in the pool. We go to different shows and stuff like that. And I always am looking at them and, trying to take in what they're taking in, and I try to do it in their eyes, and try to get to that childlike sense of wonder, which, if you think about it, when we were kids, everything was pretty awesome. That's where, the word comes from. It's something that inspires awe in you. Awesome. So maybe that's, something for you to think about and to do if you have kids. I know I'm guilty of looking at my phone a little bit too much. It's just one of those things where, I need to pay more attention to my kids than my phone, because my phone, brings me some golly gee whiz good stuff, but it doesn't bring me awe. It doesn't make me go, wow, I need to record that, or I need to, share with somebody how I feel about what I've just experienced. With the amount of time that we spend on our phones. And then, and then just think about, how much time do you spend on your phone, and how many things have you shared with others from what you found on your phone? So think about that. And, for me, maybe it's less time on the phone and more time paying attention to my kids and seeing, what inspires awe in them, and relaying that to my audience, relaying that to folks like you that are listening to this podcast. So that's something I'm going to work on, and I'd like to know if you're going to work on something like that too. Well, that was today's card. I appreciate you, taking a listen to this podcast, and I really appreciate the time that you put into it, and I hope you appreciate the time that I put into it. I do want to ask you a slight favor. If you got any benefit out of this, I'd ask you to go ahead and share it with a friend. Whatever app you're using, if you're on my website, go ahead and give them the website. If you're, using an app, share it through your app. There's lots of different ways, lots of different apps out there. So I'm not going to go through them all. But yeah, go ahead and share it with a friend. I don't mind. Don't mind at all. The other thing I'd like to ask of you is that if you have something going on in your neck of the woods, or if you have, a piece of art that you're working on that I can help you out with, or if you want to get your work out there to other people, I'd be happy to interview you on this show. You can email me, timothy@createartpodcast.com. And I'd be happy to get back with you and talk about it and see what we can do about that. The last thing I'm going to ask of you, and I know I'm asking a ton, and I apologize for that, but could you go ahead and email me and let me know what would make this a 5-star podcast in your eyes? I'd like to know about that. You can, a lot of the apps out there, you can comment right there on the app and leave your review or all that. And by all means, go ahead and do that. Even if it's not a 5-star, if it's a 4-star, if it's a 1-star, go ahead and do that. But what I would ask you to do, please, is to go ahead and email me. Same email address, timothy@createartpodcast.com. And let me know what's going to make this a 5-star podcast for you. Now I'm going to release you to the rest of your day. I hope this was enjoyable for you. I know it was enjoyable for me. So go out there. Tame that inner critic. Create more than you consume. And go out there and make some art for somebody you love. yourself. I'll talk to you next time.